I don't know where I'm going, but I swear I'll never go back there again. Even if it kills me. It was almost midnight. Cold wind, wet gravel, broken glass under my bare feet. My arm throbbed with every step. I couldn't tell if it was dislocated or broken, but I knew something wasn't right. I could barely move it. Blood dripped from my elbow. I had nothing with me. No jacket. No shoes. No phone. Just a single wrinkled dollar bill I grabbed from the counter before slipping out the back door. That's all I had. $1. And a broken arm. I was 17. But I felt 90. Earlier that night I had said something that changed everything. It was a Sunday dinner. My mom was making steak and mashed potatoes, Ron's favorite. That's my stepdad. He doesn't talk much unless he's angry. And when he's angry he uses his belt. Or worse, his fists. Ethan, his son from a previous marriage, sat on the couch scrolling through his phone, waiting to be served like a prince. Leah, my mom snapped. Get Ethan's plate ready. I looked up from the sink where I was scrubbing pans. He's literally right there, Mom. He has legs. She whipped her head toward me like I'd spit in her face. You think you're a princess now? He's the king in this house. And you? You clean his damn toilet. I froze. Not because it shocked me, but because I'd heard worse. I was just tired, so I said it. I'm not his maid. I'm your daughter. The room went silent. Ron stood up. Slowly. Like a storm that gathers before it hits. He walked toward me, unbuckling his leather belt. We'll see if a broken bone helps you remember your place, he said coldly. I backed away, but there was nowhere to go. He grabbed my arm, this arm, and started swinging. The belt cut through the air like a whip. I screamed. My mom just stood there. Just watched. Like I was a stray dog being punished. He hit me across the shoulder, the back, the hip. I dropped to my knees. When it was over, I crawled upstairs to my room. My whole body was shaking. I didn't cry. Not yet. I was too focused on breathing, staying quiet, making sure he didn't come back. At 2:14 a.m., I opened my window. And at 2:18 a.m., I opened the back door and left. I didn't even look back. I walked for almost 3 miles. I passed 2 neighborhoods, a closed gas station, and a group of drunk college kids who yelled something about me being a homeless crackhead. I kept walking. I couldn't feel my toes. My fingers were blue. My arm had gone numb, but my shoulder screamed with every bump in the road. Finally, I reached a 7-Eleven. I went inside and pretended to look at chips, but the cashier kept staring at my arm. You okay? He asked gently. I nodded. Lied. Just fell off my bike. He didn't believe me. I could tell. He stepped from behind the counter. You want me to call someone? Police? Hospital? I shook my head. If I go back, I'll die. His eyes widened. I could see he wanted to say something else. But he didn't. He handed me a bottle of water and a protein bar. I gave him my only $1. Then I went outside and sat on the curb. And that's when I cried. I cried into my knees. The water bottle slipped from my hand. I pulled my hoodie over my head like it could hide my pain. But nothing could. Not that night. I kept asking God, is this what family is supposed to feel like? Like prison? Like pain? Like hell? You know, I used to be someone. I used to be the kind of girl who believed that moms protected their kids. I believed that if I got straight A's, if I did all the dishes, cleaned my room, stayed quiet, maybe my mom would love me. I used to want to be a veterinarian. I used to watch animal rescue videos online and cry because I wanted to be the person who saved someone. But the truth is, I couldn't even save myself. People look at girls like me and ask, why didn't you tell someone? Why didn't you leave sooner? But they don't understand what it's like to live in a house where silence is safer than honesty, where every truth gets you punished, where the people who are supposed to love you are the ones you're most afraid of. My mom used to sing to me when I was little. I remember her voice. Soft. Warm. I used to think her hugs could fix anything. But I think she buried that version of herself the day my real dad died. And what rose in her place was someone I no longer recognized. I don't know where this road is taking me. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. But I know I'm not going back. Not to that house. Not to that hell. Even if it means sleeping in a bathroom or begging for food. Even if I have to rebuild my life from ashes. Because this broken arm, these bruises, They are not the end of me. They're the beginning of something else. Something stronger. Something that'll leave them terrified one day. But for now, I just need to survive the night. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support keeps stories like mine alive. People ask me what changed. When did things go bad? When did it stop feeling like home? And honestly, I don't think it ever was home. Not after my dad died. I was 6. One day he kissed my forehead before work. The next he was gone. Car accident. Instant. No warning. Just sirens and then silence. For a while it was just me and Mom. She cried a lot. Slept with the TV on. She'd stare out the window like she was waiting for someone to come fix her. I thought I could be that someone. I tried to be. I'd make my own breakfast. I'd draw her pictures and write little notes like, "I love you, Mommy. You're the best." She'd smile sometimes. Hug me sometimes. But then came Ron. She met him at work. He sold insurance. He had a wide smile, a big truck, and just enough charm to make her believe he could save her. He moved in 6 months later. Married her the next spring. I still remember the first time he yelled at me. I had spilled orange juice on his shirt. I was barely 7. He slammed the kitchen chair and shouted, "Are you stupid, girl?" My mom told me later, "He's just under stress. Don't make a big deal of everything." That became her favorite line. "Don't make a big deal of it, Leah." When I turned 10, Ethan came to live with us. He was 12. Ron's son from his first marriage. His mom couldn't handle him. So guess who had to? He walked into our house like it was already his. I still remember his first words to me. "This is my room now. You get the small one." That same week, my mom took down all the posters in my room, boxed up my books, and shoved my twin bed into the smaller storage room by the laundry. "You're older now. You don't need toys," she said flatly. From then on, I became the background character in my own house. I made Ethan's bed, cleaned his sneakers, scrubbed the toilet after him because, according to Mom, boys don't clean bathrooms. At 13, I cooked my first dinner, not because I wanted to, but because Mom had a migraine and Ron told me if I didn't do it, I wouldn't eat. I burnt the chicken. Got slapped. By 15, I had stopped asking for birthday cakes, gifts, hugs. All of it felt undeserved. I was a live-in maid. But what hurt most wasn't the chores. It wasn't even Ron's anger or Ethan's cruelty. It was her. My mother. She started calling me things she never used to. Lazy. Ungrateful. Drama queen. You're not his sister. Don't act like you are. You're lucky we even let you live here. She said that once when I asked why Ethan got a car on his 17th birthday and I got nothing. I remember just nodding, biting my tongue. Because in that house, silence was survival. Still, I tried to be good. I studied hard. Got straight A's. I had a little dream tucked inside my chest like a secret. I wanted to become a vet. I loved animals because they never hurt you on purpose. They didn't lie. They didn't betray you. Every night, I'd read animal care books under my blanket with a flashlight. I kept a notebook of all the vet schools in the state. My grades were good enough. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I got in, my mom would finally see me. But every time I reached for that dream, Ron crushed it. Vet school? Please. You think someone like you can afford that? You gonna treat dogs for a living? Maybe start by cleaning our bathroom right. Even Ethan joined in. He'd mock me at dinner. Leah the dog girl. Can't clean a pan but gonna save the animals. Mom would laugh. She used to be my safe place. And now she was the one handing the matches to burn me. By junior year, I stopped talking in class. Teachers asked if I was okay. I'd say yes. But my grades slipped. I got caught falling asleep during finals. One day, a guidance counselor pulled me aside. Said she noticed bruises on my wrist. Asked if I felt safe at home. I lied. I said I was clumsy. That I'd tripped. Because the truth was scarier than anything else. What was I supposed to say? That my mom let her husband beat me? That my stepbrother spit in my food when she wasn't looking? That I lived in a house where love was conditional and silence was currency? So I shut up. Until that one dinner. Until that Sunday. The day before I ran, Ethan cornered me in the kitchen. He tossed a soda can at me and smirked. "Hey, maid girl. Go clean the bathroom. It smells like you." I didn't move. He stepped closer, leaned into my ear and whispered, "You're not even family. You're the trash we keep around, 'cause Mom says you're too expensive to dump." And my mom? She laughed. That was the last time I looked at her and saw a mother. That night I sat on the floor of my room, small, cold, with no door, no posters, no light. I stared at my biology textbook. I used to believe knowledge was power, but sometimes silence is protection. I stayed silent for too long. But the next night, when Ron raised that belt and my mom looked away, I knew I wasn't going to survive another year there. So I waited until the house went quiet, until the clock ticked past 2 a.m. And I ran, with nothing but $1 and a broken arm. They say rock bottom is when you lose everything. But for me, it was a public restroom inside the Maple Avenue Public Library. I spent my first night hiding in the last stall. It smelled like cheap soap and wet paper towels. I locked the door, curled up on the toilet seat with my feet pulled up, and prayed no one would come in. Every noise outside made me flinch. I was scared someone would knock, scared someone would ask why I was there. But more than anything, I was scared to go back. I didn't sleep. I just shook. From cold, from pain, from fear. My arm was stiff and throbbing. The skin around my elbow was purple and tight. But I didn't cry. I didn't want to feel anything anymore. The next morning I washed my face in the sink, wiped myself with paper towels, and slipped out with the early morning readers. No one noticed me. That was the first time I realized how invisible I had become. I stayed at the library because it was warm and no one asked questions. I'd sit in the corner near the animal science section and pretend to read. I even started helping one of the librarians shelve books just to stay useful. But when night came, I went right back to that stall. That tiny cold bathroom had become my safest place in the world. I lived off crackers from a vending machine and water from the sink. I counted every cent I had, $1.16 after the cashier gave me back change. I used 75 cents to buy a small bag of pretzels. I saved the rest. That went on for 3 nights. On the 4th night, everything changed. It was around 10:45 p.m. I waited for the library to close. I had learned how to sneak into the restroom just before they locked up. But that night I wasn't fast enough. A security guard spotted me walking toward the back hallway. "Hey," she said. "Library's closed, sweetheart." I froze. She stepped closer, noticing my limp. Her name tag said Maria. She had gray hair tied up in a bun and warm brown eyes. "You okay?" she asked. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Then she saw my arm. I had tried covering it with my hoodie, but the swelling was too obvious. "You hurt," she whispered. I nodded slowly. Maria didn't call the cops. She didn't raise her voice or ask questions I wasn't ready to answer. She just said, "Come with me." She took me to her car. The seat smelled like cinnamon gum and peppermint oil. She handed me a granola bar and let me eat in silence. Then she drove me to a women's shelter on the east side of town. It was called Safe Haven. A gray 2-story house with soft porch lights and a tiny welcome sign taped to the door. Maria stayed with me while I filled out paperwork. The lady at the front desk asked if I wanted to file a police report. I said no. I wasn't ready, but I did give them my real name. That night, I slept in a bed with clean sheets. I took a shower for the first time in days. When I saw myself in the mirror, I almost didn't recognize the girl staring back. Bruised, hollow, tired, but alive. I stayed at the shelter for 3 weeks. It was filled with women who looked just like me. Scared, quiet, carrying invisible wounds. Some had babies. Some had black eyes. Some had stories I still hear in my sleep. But there, I finally felt like a person again. The shelter connected me to a clinic that x-rayed my arm. It wasn't broken, just a deep contusion and nerve strain. The doctor said it would heal with rest. They also helped me get an ID, apply for food assistance, and find part-time work. That's how I ended up at Pineview Animal Clinic. They needed someone to mop floors, clean cages, and restock supplies. Nothing fancy. But the moment I stepped in, the smell of dogs, disinfectant, and medicine hit me. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Dr. Roswell was the head vet. Tall, soft-spoken, probably in her late 50s. She reminded me of the science teachers I used to admire in middle school. I didn't talk much the first few days. I just worked. quiet, focused. But one afternoon, as I was cleaning up after a routine dog surgery, she stopped me. "You've got steady hands," she said. Then she handed me gloves and pointed to the surgical tray. "Come help me wrap this." I blinked. "Me?" She nodded. "You can do it." No one had said that to me in so long. I nearly cried right there. From then on, she'd teach me small things: how to swaddle a cat for vaccines, how to read simple blood panels, how to clean a wound properly. It wasn't much, but to me it was everything. Every day at that clinic I felt more like myself again. Not the girl who cleaned toilets for her stepbrother, but the girl who used to dream. The one who wanted to help animals. The one who believed in a future. The pain didn't leave, not fully. My shoulders still ached on cold nights. I still flinched at loud voices. And every time someone said the word family, I'd feel that lump in my throat. But I was healing. Slowly. I had no revenge plan. No dramatic moment. Just survival. That was the victory. Because every morning I woke up and wasn't in that house, that was a win. Every time I earned a paycheck, every time I read a new vet book, every time I helped an injured dog feel better, that was me fighting back. And I hadn't even started yet. 2 years later, I was standing in front of the Pineview Animal Clinic, not as a cleaner but as an intern. 19 years old. Enrolled in a vet tech program. Living in a shared apartment with 2 other girls from the shelter. I had my own keys. My own name on a lease. A life I built without them. And for the first time I didn't wake up scared. I didn't flinch at footsteps behind me. I didn't walk on eggshells. I breathed. It took everything I had just to get here. Maria, the security guard who found me, still called me once a week. Dr. Roswell had written my college recommendation letter. And the caseworker from Safe Haven? She sat me down one afternoon with a folder and said, "Leah, I think you're ready." Inside that folder were the papers to open an abuse case against Ron and my mom. My stomach dropped. I thought I was over it. I thought time had healed enough. But the moment I saw Ron's full name in print, my hand started shaking. "He has a record," she said quietly. "Other reports. From before you." I didn't ask for details. I didn't want to know how many others he had hurt. But I knew one thing. I wasn't going to stay silent anymore. So I signed it. Every page. The CPS investigation took weeks. They pulled school records, hospital files, old photos, teacher notes. I gave them everything. I told them everything. I cried through most of it. I thought I'd feel weak going back into that pain. But I didn't. I felt powerful. Like reclaiming a part of me that had been locked away in that house for too long. 2 months later I got the call. Ron had been arrested. My mother was charged with child endangerment. And Ethan? Well, he was about to get hit with something even worse than court. Viral truth. I made a TikTok video, just me, no music, no makeup, no acting. Just my voice. I started with a picture of me at 13, holding a puppy in front of our house. Then I said, "My name is Leah. My stepfather beat me with a belt when I refused to serve his son like a maid." My mother watched. She said, "He's the king. You? Clean his toilet." I ran away with $1 and a broken arm. But I didn't break. I healed. I studied. And today I help save lives. This is for every girl who thinks she's too small to survive. You are not. You are a storm in quiet shoes. It blew up. Hundreds of comments. Thousands of shares. People recognized Ethan in old photos. Turns out he had posted a bunch of family pics back then. Bragging about our vacations, the house, his perfect life. Not so perfect anymore. Someone found his college. Then his job. Within days he was fired. And me? I didn't say another word about it. I didn't need to. The truth had a voice of its own now. But the part that still gives me chills? That came on a random Tuesday afternoon. During an outreach event with the clinic. We had set up a mobile vet unit in a low-income area, offering free vaccines, checkups, and food for pets. It was hot. Busy. I was handing out water bottles when I heard a familiar voice. Raspy. Shaky. "Please, she's not breathing right. I don't know what's wrong with her." I turned. And my heart stopped. It was her. My mother. Holding a small terrier wrapped in a towel. The dog was coughing, weak, barely moving. She looked older. Thinner. Her hair was gray at the roots. Her eyes were sunken. She was nothing like the woman who used to scream orders across the dinner table. She didn't recognize me at first. But when I stepped forward and gently took the dog from her arms, our eyes met. And she froze. Her lips parted, trembling. "Leah?" I didn't say anything right away. I was too focused on the dog. After checking her breathing, I handed her off to another tech and turned back to my mother. She was staring at me like she'd seen a ghost. I took a slow breath and said, "I'm not the maid anymore." Then I walked away. She didn't follow me. She didn't apologize. She just stood there holding the air where the dog used to be. That was the moment I knew. I had become someone she couldn't control, couldn't beat, couldn't ignore. And that terrified her. Good. Because she should be scared. They all should. Not of revenge, but of the woman they didn't kill. Because I survived. I turned every bruise into a boundary, every insult into fuel, every tear into purpose. They thought they broke me, but I used every piece they shattered to build a new life. I'm not the girl who cleaned their toilets anymore. I'm the woman who cleans wounds, who saves lives, who stands tall with scars and says, "I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere." Thank you for staying with me through this journey. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support gives stories like mine a voice.